Hey, what's going on? Happy New Year's and welcome to the new year of 2022. How's my mic sound? How'd you guys enjoy your New Year's? Like I said, I think I told you guys before 2 days ago, I was sick as a dog, man, sick as a dog. So we're gonna start this New Year's right, and we're gonna do the traditional old top 10 list. Now I'm gonna have some guests come on, and they're gonna give their own top five or however many they want to give, maximum 10. Then I'm going to do the top five worst list. Okay. Sounds like fun, right? So, like I said, I'm going to go do my top 10, and then I'm going to bring my guests on, and then they'll do their top five, and then we're going to discuss them if you want to go into them. And after that, we're going to go in order again and do the top five worst. Okay. All right. Let me start passing out the link. Let me start passing out the link. Link. Boom. Hey, let me give it to my boy Beasto. Boom. Once those boys gets on, link is in the chat. Let me give it to one more guy. So, what do you guys think will be my number one movie? Interesting, huh? Let's see. All right, so let's get this ball rolling. I don't want to be on too long today. We're gonna start, and we're gonna start bottom from the bottom. Night number. Hold on one second, guys. There we go. So, and coming in at number 10 for best movies of 2021 for me. This is all a personal list, right? It was actually, believe it or not, Netflix's Fear Street Part 2. I really thoroughly enjoyed that movie. The reason why is because I'm a big fan of like horror anthologies, like Goosebumps. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Channel Zero, big fan, and I really like the '90s aesthetics of Fear Street, and that's what Fear Street Part 2. Well, That one's more 80s aesthetics, and I like 80s movies as well. But that anthology and the up, that anthology style kind of, RL Stein stuff, I'm just a big fan of, and I really like that one. It's not like the best movie in the world, I know. It's cheesy. It's even though it is gory, it's still kind of like teen base level stuff, but that's what I enjoyed. So sue me. But I enjoyed Fear Street Part 2. That's number 10. Coming in at number 9, Suicide Squad. That's probably the second best superhero movie I saw this year. Um, Honestly, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not see that as many movies as I would have wanted to due to school and other scheduling conflicts. But Suicide Squad did make my top 10. That I mean, given the criteria, it was both funny. I mean, they had Idris Elba in it. They had really some good actors. It was like it was like Deadpool meets. How do I describe it? I don't know. It was Deadpool meets DC, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was fun. It was fun for me. Like that was cool. And I didn't think it had the conventional like super plot either. Like it was just random as hell. But that's number 9. Number 8, Judas and the Black Messiah. A lot of people forgot about it because it came out like early in the summer. But that was a very very emotional movie. Very historical. Very. It covered a very important figure that most people don't know about in terms of Fred Hampton. A very interesting movie. I enjoyed that movie. That's my number 8. The only reason it's not higher is because I need to see the movie again. I don't, even though there was impact, I don't know if it was like best movie of the year impact. Like I don't even know if like the Oscars would vote that in. I'm not sure. Maybe for the script and the directing, but mm, something about it. I think it was like the last thirds of the movie where I was like not as invested. Like I knew what was coming, but I was not as invested as I was in the first 75% of the movie. And there's other problems. I just can't think of them right now because well, it's been a while. I need to rewatch it though. Number 7, Fear Street Part 1. This is where, as I talked about my earlier take on Fear Street Part 2 with the 90s aesthetics. Again, I love the horror anthology. It was just super fun. I had low expectations, but the movie was fun, man. It wasn't like the greatest filmmaking or anything. It was just fun. It was fun. Netflix did a really good job. The actors did a pretty good job of making them likable and believable. Nothing more to say about that. Number 6, almost there, guys. Nobody. Man, it gave me John Wick 1 vibes. Probably not as good in terms of the world building, not as what's the word? It didn't go all the way like John Wick, but the action was good. I think it's from the same studio as John Wick guys. Like it just peak John Wick vibes. Let's just put it that way. Like, and I love how the actor isn't the stereotypical kind of like um action movie guy or anything. He's just a regular typical guy. You would think like, oh, really, this guy? Like he's like one of those, button up collared, oh shut golly gee type of guy. But it was funny too. Like I loved it. Now number 5. This was tough. This was between two movies. Number 5 and 4 was tough to figure out. But I decided, because I still need to give this movie a watch, to put Licorice Pizza in my number 5. Probably could have been a number 4 easily. It was really tough. Licorice Pizza. Love the little world building they did in terms of the exploring the streets of California. Love the romance. Love how unpredictable that movie is. Love the filmmaking and editing. It goes back to the older periods of filmmaking, especially like that time period between the 70s and the 90s. Like um, it was just really all around just good filmmaking. If you want to learn how to edit, for sure, watch that movie. Yes, Matrix, I'm talking to you. That's how you edit a movie. Okay, and the acting was great. All the characters are mostly likable. The sequences was just funny. Like, and it didn't just feel like an SNL skit. Because people make the critique, oh, there's just SNL skits put together. But no, it matched with what was going on in those characters' lives and their journey, and it was believable. Random, but that's what life is. Now, number 5, like I said, Licorice Pizza. Number 4, The Last Duel. Probably the most unique Sword and Sandals movies I've ever seen, in the sense that it's kind of a spoiler, but like it's not. Knights in this movie are not portrayed as chivalrous. They're portrayed what they really are. Most of them were actually scumbags and did things for money. People don't know that historically. You know, the old white knight and oh, you're being white. No, like this that doesn't apply in this movie, and you see it. And I like the angle he took with this movie. With basically, there's like a whole incident told from three different perspectives revolving what is and isn't rape, and I love how they explore the morality nature of knights around that time, the immorality or whatever you want to call it. Like very very good look into how knights actually are. Very much more accurate depiction than what these movies usually do. Because usually in these kind of movies, they're just like, how do you put it? They're just like glorifying them, and it's cool. I love those movies, but that's not really an accurate depiction, to be honest with you. And maybe that's why people didn't like it. I don't know. I loved it though. Like the acting, the cinematography was top notch. Probably some of the second or the first best cinematography I've seen. Ridley Scott does it again. He's good when it comes to shoot sword and sandal stuff. This guy knows what he's doing. He is a legendary director. Number three, to no surprise, I have another superhero movie, but this one is well deserved. Spider-Man: No Way From Home. It was able to perform nostalgia in the way it should be done, where it's not overly relying on it, and it did it well. It also put Spider-Man in a situation, which I won't spoil, that I've always wanted him to be in, and explored some of the more mature adulthood concepts of Spider-Man that we love to see him deal with. And now we're getting to the more college level Spider-Man, it seems. Tom Holland did a great job acting. Other characters, which I won't spoil. A certain character I don't want to spoil. One of the greatest villains in Marvel history, and there's a reason why. The actor does it again. Spider-Man: No Way Home. The only reason I don't have it higher was due to, I'd say, the directing. Like it wasn't very stylish. Really, the story, the scripting, the actors carried. I mean, yeah, the script. Yeah, I said it right. But the directing, I feel like anyone could have directed that with that amount of talent in it, and it could have taken it to the next step, and probably might have actually been my number one if it had that flair of great directing to it. Number one or two. Number two, this was tough. It was between my first or second, but I'm gonna put Dune as my number two. Hey, Star Killer or Beasto, I'm gonna let you guys in like 2 minutes. I just want to finish two and one. All right. Number two, I have Dune. This was my number one, but then I saw another movie and I decided to put it number two for now. Reasons why it's only number two and not my number one. Uh, this is fine. It did pull a little bit of a Lord of the Rings, which is fine. The story's not complete. It's not complete yet. It's really gonna rely on have number two being very well done, which I believe it will be, to have a proper conclusion. I don't want to spoil anything else, but the acting, the cinematography, masterclass, the editing, masterclass. Denis Villeneuve does it again. The world building. This is just how you do world building without having to needlessly info dump and just tell you everything that's going on, like explicitly through dialogue. Christopher Nolan, he's a great director too, but that is a flaw. This does not happen here. You have to rewatch the movie, which is why it has a watchability factor. I've seen it 3 times already to understand and get more details from the movie. The It's just watching it, just no dialogue at all. You can gather some stuff about the world, hearing what they're saying without actually telling you. You can gather stuff about the world. That sounds weird, but that does happen. Like they'll be talking, and you just pick little things up from their dialogue. Love the movie. I don't want to go too much into it. Villain's mysterious. You want to know more? What's his name? Timothy Chalamet shows out. He is a star, in this world of film, and I think people are going to realize that he's very much in that Tom Holland category of a star, rising young star. You're going to see him in a lot more movies, a lot more now in mainstream movies. Anyway, number one, just to end this, I saw it yesterday before New Year's, so this counts. And this is a 2021 movie. Pig with Nicolas Cage. This is Nicolas Cage best performance in a while, and probably might be his best performance. I have to go back and look. I did not expect this movie. I didn't expect it to do this much. I mean, I had basically no expectations, to be fair. Unlike Licorice Pizza, where I had all the expectations. Don't know who the director is. Man, what a great movie! Just amazing. Hold on, let me pause this. Uh, the editing was good. The cinematography was good. It was good for indie movie. It was interesting. Just Man, I don't want to spoil it. I just want you guys to watch it. I'm not going to even tell you the plot because it's. Oh wait, I can actually. Basically, a man's similar to a John Wick movie, but a man's pig is taken from him, and he loved that pig for reasons I won't tell you. But he goes out. He's basically been like living in recluse as a recluse in like the woods or whatever, and he finally goes back to the city and faces stuff from his past to find this pig. He does a good job. One of the Naked Brothers, you know that Nickelodeon show where like one of the brothers, like the actor, he's in here. He actually does a good job. He's getting better in his acting, guys. I have to give it to him. But Pig is a 10 out of 10 movie and is my number one movie. All right, guys, I'm gonna add my friend Starkiller to the stream. Thank you for your patience, Starkiller. What's going on?
Hello.
Yo, where's Beasto? Let me text him. Hey, but while I'm trying to get Beasto into the call, what's your top 5 list?
Well, you didn't do a
Worst?
You're gonna do that after?
Yeah, it's another segment.
Okay.
That way I can break it up if I want to split it later.
For sure.
On. Let me message him. Ready? All right. Yeah, go for it, bro. What's your top 5?
So, all right, I'm gonna start from the bottom, work my way up to the top.
That's what she said.
So coming in number 5 was Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings. So I really, really, really loved that movie. It was similar to Black Panther for me. I think that they got the aspect of like some of the Chinese, like what do you say? How do you say that? Like Chinese culture down in a sense. Like there's a lot of homage paid to, like, I feel like the Chinese culture and stuff within that film. I really loved it. It's one of the few films that stood out for me this year because of how well done it is. We can hear you.
Okay. So I'm just doing a sound check. I'm gonna invite Seb as well because I told him I was up. So
yeah, sure. Just tell him to have a top 5 ready and a top 5 worst ready. But go for it. Send him the link.
So, yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was very emotional. I felt like the actor, like the choice in actors was perfect. I really, really liked Aquafina. I felt like she was very charming throughout the film. Some people may disagree, unpopular opinion, but I don't know. I feel like she was very, very charming, and she was a very good dynamic to the main actor, which she was a lot more grounded, and she was just kind of like that kind of comedy charm to the film. Also, the father, the main antagonist of the film, he was amazing too. Like he's very well known for just having being able to act without using his words. Like you can just look at his facial expressions and kind of tell his sentiments and his emotions from that. So he was very good as well. So both the antagonist and the protagonist, like both casts on both sides, were actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of great Chinese movies.
He's been in a lot of films. Like he's a really, really great actor. So moving on to number 4, I thought it was gonna make it to my number 3, but we'll get to that later. Licorice Pizza is in my number 4. I really, really enjoyed that film so much. I felt like I was taken back a bunch of years and just watching an indie film that came out like almost 20 years ago, I would say. It's a really like classic indie film, and just like a very like telling of a love story. It's very messy, but I feel like, love stories are messy. I don't feel like love stories are progressive, not progressive, but they don't progress quite in like a chronological way. Like they're just messy and they're all over the place. And that movie, their love story just felt raw to me, and I really, really, really loved that. Um,
Yeah.
that type of like filming and the telling of that story was just perfect because it's everything that modern movies are not today.
Yeah. It's the
Um,
opposite. Quite
for
literally.
sure. Number three was Malignant. Um, Horror movies tend to be my favorite genre, and I have a really hard time with horror movies because I just feel like there's not a lot of good horror movies. Most horror movies are just kind of really they're
Typical.
bad. But that movie was just very fun. It was a very, very fun movie. Knew exactly what it was, and it just went with it. It reminded me of Cabin in the Woods. Just very like campy and fun. Having fun with the movie and just kind of diverting all your expectations. Like you think one thing and then it's just something completely different. And it was just such a fun movie. I had so much fun. I had so many laughs, and I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't quite like a horror movie to scare me, because it felt like it went from one genre through to another throughout the film. But that's kind of what made it fun. Um, Really, that movie I would say really surprised me. I was hyped for it when I saw the trailer, but I did not expect at all what
Yeah.
I saw. Like what I saw from the trailer and what the movie actually was not what I expected at all, and gave me quite a nice surprise. Loved it though. Um,
Yeah.
Number two was Dune. Um, Dennis Villeneuve is just one of my favorite directors. He's just been putting out all his movies that he's put out have been good. I haven't seen a single bad film from him. Dune really um, made me feel like I was a kid again, watching like getting into a new film, like how people get into Lord of the Rings or any
Yeah.
of these like series or Fast and the Furious. I felt like I was getting back into something completely new that intrigued me, and I just wanted to know more about the film. I wanted to know more about the world. I wanted to know more about everything because I had no idea what was going on. Um, and just there wasn't as he mentioned earlier, like there wasn't anything like being told to you or whatever. There's no explanations. You kind of just had to pick up little things here and there. And that made me want to figure out even more about the world. So I just happened to do my own research, and I did end up rewatching the film as well to kind of engage in everything that happened because I feel like the movie is a lot. Like on your first watch,
It's
there's
a
a
lot.
lot of
It's a lot.
information to absorb
Yeah.
to the point that like you really need to watch. I ended up watching the movie a couple times,
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta watch it at least
but
twice.
it's just so good. And then once you're finally fully able to absorb all what's going on, it's like, oh my god, this is like great world building. It's leading up to more than like we can understand right now, and it's
Mhm.
just done in such it's executed in such a perfect way that feels very grounded and realistic. And I feel like that's what Denis Villeneuve is very, very good at. It's bringing that sci-fi genre to a grounded level that feels realistic. So it
Yeah.
never feels cartoonish. It never feels like, oh, this is like, this is like fantasy. Like it feels very, very believable. Like Dune feels like something that could happen for sure in the future. And I feel that way about some of his other films as well that he's put out. Um,
Exactly.
and to top it off, if it wasn't for this film, Dune would have been my number one for the year. But No Way Home was definitely my number one film for this year, and that's just because I'm biased. Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel hero. Um, I grew up with Spider-Man. I've seen all the Spider-Man films. Like he's just my favorite hero overall in the Marvel universe. And them being able to just I feel like this film just kind of brought all the generations of people who love Spider-Man together. So it was just a nostalgic emotional ride. It was just an
Yeah.
emotional roller coaster that kind of tied the loose ends of the feel like what it really did is it tied the loose ends of um the other films that didn't do well. Because I feel like the Tobey Maguire films, they started off really good. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best like films of all time, the Spider-Man films of all time. But then Spider-Man 3 just kind of like fell off the scale. And I feel like it tied that up. The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, I thought that his take on Peter Parker was amazing. But just certain things just didn't quite fit. And I felt like, once again, No Way Home kind of just tied up some of those things. And I felt like for a lot of people, they want to see more of the old Spider-Mans now because of this film.
Yeah,
So I feel like
that's true.
because it tied up those loose ends from the other films, like now people are like interested again in seeing those old Spider-Man, brought all those things together. And Tom Holland is an amazing, I feel like he's the best iteration of Spider-Man, and having the other Spider-Man come in like that, it's just like a full circle, like everything comes full circle. So very emotional for me. Loved it. But yeah, that's my top 5.
All right, that was a really good top 5, man. And you explained everything thoroughly. Beasto91, physicist Seb, welcome to 2022. How are you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
I'm really good, man. I'm glad to hear from you guys. Just to explain the rules, you can talk about the cinematography, the editing, all that. Just don't reveal major plot points. And
Okay, spoiler free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot to add that. Let me put that in chat. But other than that,
should have told me that before I went in, dude.
I don't think you revealed any of the plot though, unless I missed that.
You really didn't. You kind of went
Yeah,
into,
no,
like what you liked
surprisingly
and
you
you didn't like, and you were pretty general with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just jumped in myself, but from what I heard, all you really mentioned was like, yeah, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh shit.
But I think a lot of people figure that anyway, so I don't really think that's that big of a deal of a spoiler.
Yeah, I probably should.
At this point, it's like I'm pretty sure everyone knows.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. But yeah. Other than that, go ahead, Beasto. Your go, and then it'll be so.
Well, I can't really make a top 10, so it's gonna be a top 5 because as far as movies that came out this year, I only saw 5. Funny enough.
And also, if I want to just make a quick comment, I don't even think I can make a top 5 if I'm being honest, because I didn't see that many movies.
If you just have 3, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We're just gonna make the list with what we saw.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I guess for number 5, I'm gonna go bottom up. Number 5 is gonna have to be Matrix. I mean, wasn't really happy with it. I felt I came out of that feeling nothing. It was just very messy. There was no cohesiveness with what.
Wait, are you doing top 5 or are you doing a bottom?
Well, I only
5?
saw 5. I only saw 5.
So you're basically
okay.
So your bottom's literally.
So I'm gonna have to do worst to best in this case because I only saw 5.
Okay.
Do me a favor. Save your worst. So just do like what you actually liked, even if it's just one movie.
What I actually liked, I'm just gonna go with 3 films at this point. So what I liked, I guess top 3 would be starting with 3 would be Nobody. I thought that was a very fun movie. I like the tone of it because you just, especially in the beginning, he just felt like he was always ready to snap. Like he was just tired of his life. But then just the choreography, the action, everything it was a simple, fun movie. And I always have room for stuff like that where it's not too deep. It doesn't need to be deep. It doesn't have to be life-changing. It's just a fun action movie to jump into, watch, enjoy it for what it is. Like I said, the choreography was great. I was pretty fine with the cinematography. I like some of the the top stuff. I enjoyed that movie overall. I would definitely recommend that movie to people if they just want to have a fun time. I've had a hard time with between these two because I enjoyed them both a lot. But I guess number 2 would be Dune. Because technically, there's still more film to be had. Yeah. But I really enjoyed the premise. I really, really, really loved the audio and the cinematography. I really liked it. It reminded me of Blade Runner, obviously, because it's the same director.
Yeah.
I love Dennis Villeneuve's cinematography and sound. The audio is just fantastic in his films, and obviously the acting and just the scenery, the setting, the story, like where it's gonna go. I'm very intrigued, and coming from someone who's never read the book, I can't wait to see what's coming next.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed Dune. I had such a fantastic time watching that movie, and that's really all I can say about it. And then number one is going to be Spider-Man for the same
Mhm.
reason as Starkiller. It's just I love Spider-Man. I think he's one of my favorite heroes. Period. Like just in general, like between regardless if it's DC, Marvel, I just love Spider-Man, and they did such a justice to the characters and the previous two Spider-Men. Um, the acting was great. The chemistry between the characters was fantastic. Really good plot. Just I liked where it went. I liked that there was levity to people's decisions. Like there was consequences. There was just stuff I really enjoyed. It felt real, more grounded in terms of like character development. I really enjoyed that movie, man. It was just the
Yeah.
most fun I had in the theater this year. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just to summarize it. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Those are my top three.
Thank you, Beasto. We're gonna get to the worst right after. Well, what we're gonna do is after Physicist Seb gives his, we're gonna talk a little bit about the top two or whatever movie specifically you want to briefly like add into whatever you want to like add into that discussion. Physicist, what was your top five or
So
three, whatever?
I'll be honest. I didn't see that many movies this year,
Okay.
just because of course with the pandemic and everything. I saw like in theaters. I saw Dune, and then I saw No Way Home, and I really, really, really love both of those movies. If I'm being honest, I mean, I think Dune really was an excellent movie. Like, this is not me saying it's bad at all, but I actually like No Way Home better. Um, and I mean, like honestly, like No Way Home just resonated more with me than Dune did. You know,
Makes sense.
and like what I really liked about No Way Home was like it was it was it was it was the best parts of like when you go to watch a Marvel movie, it encapsulated the best aspects of what makes a Marvel movie so good. And like there were actual consequences, which is really kind of rare. I mean, not to get into spoiler territory, like obviously
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into details here, but like yeah, there were like a lot of the stuff in this movie was really kind of for keeps. Like it was serious, and I like that. I mean, there were still jokes, like you had the Marvel jokes, but it was like if you compare it to like let's say for example Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where it was like I mean, you know, yeah, we talked about this like it kind of went with like like it went overboard with jokes like moments that were supposed to be serious really weren't, and it was just it kind of killed the mood.
Yeah. I feel you.
So I feel like this movie really achieved like a perfect balance, and God, I can't. I want to like get into like the plot, but I can't because I
Yeah.
would be spoiling it.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I honestly like because I read a lot of Spider-Man growing up. I watched the Sam Raimi films, when I was a kid, back when they came out in theaters. I saw the Amazing Spider-Man 1 with
Mhm.
Andrew Garfield. I did not see the second one.
Mhm.
So I heard the second one was really not that good, but
Yeah.
I honestly don't have an opinion on it because I never saw it. But
Yeah.
I actually like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 for the most part. I remember going to
It's a
watch it with
decent one.
yeah. Yeah, I watched it with Bisto like back years ago, and it was good for the most part. Um so
Mhm.
yeah, and like Starkiller said, No Way Home enhances those movies. Like it's like you can go back and watch those movies and you get more out of it now than you did before, and that's really cool, you know. And but to move on to Dune, because I think, like, you know, I wanted to talk about that also.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
What we could do from here is after you say what you want to do, let's talk about Dune and Spider-Man, since almost all of us saw the same movies a little bit more. We're not going to go into like major plot details, just how we feel about it. But yes, go into what you wanted to say about Dune.
So so Dune, because I haven't read the books or anything. I just saw the movie this year, and like I actually really enjoyed like it. So like this is, it's gonna sound kind of weird, but it's like it gave me like vibes. It was sort of like almost like a mix between like Star Wars and like Final Fantasy in a weird way, but
Yeah,
but
I
it
know what you're
had
talking
like
about.
but in a good way. It's like it's not in a bad way. Like, you know, it was like
Yeah,
like the best parts of those franchises, like, you know, in that movie. And I actually very much liked you know, in Dune, like the dream aspect, the spices, you know, and um how they can effectively give you know, special powers. It also serves as ship fuel too in the film setting.
yeah,
Um, I don't want to, actually, I should avoid spoilers. I
yeah,
mean, you kind of get that at the beginning of the movie.
yeah. That
Um,
part's not really that major a spoiler. That's fine because that's like if you don't know anything about the books or anything, that's fine.
it you know, actually that might be a spoiler. Uh,
You really want to go over the spoilers, huh?
yeah,
Um,
like yeah, no,
you know what?
I
Let me do
no,
this so we can talk.
mhm,
No, that's fine
mhm.
because I actually kind of want to go into detail. All right, I'm gonna put up a hold on, let me do this. Is there a way I can put up like a you know what? I'll put in chat. I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna put spoilers for No Way Home and Dune. No spoilers for the rest of the movies because
Yeah.
I know people did not see any of the other movies we listed.
Okay. So like, so when
Oh, one
you
second
finish post,
before you go into it.
no, I'm not
Oh,
gonna go into. I'm just saying
okay.
suggestion for when it's done and it's like the slide is over. Just put a timestamp in the description about when you get into spoilers. So people
Yeah,
that do watch it after the fact, they if they just want spoilers, they can skip. And if they don't want spoilers, they at least they know where to stop if people stop. So just put
yeah.
a timestamp, which is around. I guess you want to put the
It's
40-minute mark since we're about to
yeah,
be there.
37-minute mark, I would say, is where it starts spoiling. So
Yeah.
before we go on, we're gonna give people, if you guys want to leave chat or not and come back, I'm gonna give you guys 10 seconds because we're gonna spoil in 10 seconds for Spider-Man No Way Home and Dune. And then after that, we'll get back to the worst films and I'll let you guys know. So 5 seconds,
Okay.
4, 3, 2. If you're still in here, that's your fault. And go ahead. What did you want to say about Dune?
So like what I liked about it was there was like, you know, because I so it there were like it was very much like biblical in a sense, like the way the narrative was set up, because obviously, you know, the main character was effectively like the Messiah, you know. And it kind of like when you read like the New Testament, like you know,
Paul.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what if you go through like Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, like if you open up in Matthew, the very first thing that opens up in the New Testament is this genealogy establishing a line from King David all the way to Jesus through Mary.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Because it's establishing him as, like, you know, because the Messiah is supposed to be, you know, both the prophet and the king, the one through whom God speaks, and then someone of the bloodline of David. And there are prophecies of the Messiah that like were established in, you know, even going back into the Old Testament, you know. And you know, so like when you had shit, what was his name? Not
Which one are you
sorry.
talking about? The main character, or the mom?
Like his so his dad was
Right,
his
he was a
dad
king.
was Duke Leto.
Correct.
And I'm trying to remember because it was House
Atreides.
Yeah, House Atreides. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember the main character's name.
You're all good.
I'm drawing a blank.
The main guy. You're talking about Paul.
Yeah.
Which is another biblical name.
Yeah. Paul
they call him the Mahdi in some parts, or the Messiah.
Yeah. But yeah, he I'm sorry if I'm kind of all over the place.
No, you good. You want me to come back around, or you want
to? No, I was just gonna say throughout the film, they had these prophecies about him, oh, he'll know your language, right? Yeah. He'll know your ways, like everything down to how he laced his boots, certain how to speak the language, and he was having these precognitive dreams before he even went to the planet.
Yeah, that's true.
Just all of that, it felt very biblical in that way, but it was, which was really cool, and I kind of like that about the movie, because just the story of the Bible itself.
Yo, am I still on, or hello? Seb, I think Seb got cut off from the internet.
Let me see. Maybe
see if he's good. But Starkiller, or you got any input on what he said, or?
Honestly, he does have a point about the biblical aspect of things. I just never really thought about it in that way. That's a whole different interpretation way to look at it that way. But he's not wrong, actually. There's a lot of even the way and stuff that they handle it. But like I said, as a person also who never really read the books and stuff, according to some of the lore and stuff that I did look up, it's a very religious and political world that they live in. So the fact that Denis Villeneuve was able to capture that really well within the film is it's amazing.
That is, especially if you think about Seb, he was able to pick that up, and he hasn't read the book at all, which is a little more blatant than the movie is. So that's he did a good job, bro. But you're correct, Nurch. Starkiller. Other aspects of the film that I personally connected with was, like I said, the world building was just he said, I think Starkiller said it, very Lord of the Rings or Star Wars ish. That's what it reminded me of when I was in the theater. I think we were both in theater. Even you, Starkiller, you're just trying to take it all.
I was just quiet the whole time. I was speechless. I was just blown away by everything that I saw, and it was just so hard to absorb everything all at once. It was just too much for me. Yeah. But in a good way, not in a bad way. It's just I'm in complete awe of what's going on. So
yeah. A lot of people really talk about more the mainstream. More to say. Seb, you good?
Yeah. I'm good. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Go ahead.
You cut off.
You cut off. You cut off.
No. I wasn't. I didn't know what happened there. I was just fixing that. So okay. Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. But basically, you cut off at the point where you were talking about the biblical aspects, and Starkiller said, "It's funny. I don't think Seb read anything about the lore or anything, because you don't want to spoil stuff."
I haven't.
You got it. You got it correctly, actually, without even reading the book. You actually got it correctly. That is exactly what it's going for.
Yeah, because the movie spent a lot of time, like I said, not to repeat myself, but when he was lacing up his boots, certain answers that he was giving the people that were native to that planet.
Yeah.
How he knew their languages, the precognitive dreams he was. He seems in the movie he has a dream that he's gonna die in the end. That I don't know her name. She's played by that she's gonna kill her. and he gets the dagger that's basically going to be his
The
death.
downfall. Yeah.
Which, again, I mean, that's like, it kind of gets into like Jesus and the crucifixion. I mean, Jesus went into Jerusalem fully expecting that he was going to die.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
That's all correct. Yeah.
Um,
No, and I'm not telling you that like any of the spoilers. I'm just saying what it's trying to tell you. I'm not saying like this happens. Yeah,
because I was gonna say, like, I'm not a super religious person, like, but I do find the Bible's like, lore and myths just to be kind of like interesting. Yeah, just from a storyteller perspective.
Yeah.
And I did notice that, like, there were like parallels there. Beasto, I think you commented on that too. Like, also, like, we talked about it after the film when we went to go see it in theaters.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What would you say, Beasto?
Yeah. Just catch me up a sec, because I've been kind of back and forth because I need to help my parents with something. So I heard the base of what you were saying.
He was basically saying the religious aspects of
the Dune. Religious aspects of Dune. Yeah, no, it's definitely there. We did have that conversation because there was a lot of polarities with certain things, and I know that's probably intentional.
Yeah,
I think it's because I've seen it before. Because I think even the original, not to change films too much, but even the Matrix had some. Can you hear me?
You're there.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. First, you sounded like you were like it was like glitching for a sec. Like,
we're having a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right, I sound better now.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the biblical parody is, it's like with those more Old Testament than New Testament per se. But yeah, because we did talk about this. It's been a little bit, because we talked about it because we ended up working that night. So yeah, that was I agree with him basically. I wish I had more to say, but it was just more,
no, you're fine, bro. I did want to say something too, because like it had a lot of both Christian and like ideals, and also depending on which planet you went to. I don't know if you guys noticed, it was like a Christian theme, or like when you got to planet of Arrakis, you saw that they were like mostly, it was like Muslim or Islamic based. Down to the text they were holding and everything. And I think it draws parallels to kind of like the Iraq or Afghanistan conflict as well, with the whole resource thing. That's the political aspect of it. The resource
we went, and like we back in 2004. I mean, we took down Saddam Hussein, but I mean, Saddam Hussein himself was installed by the CIA, and I mean, we kind of put him in power, and we basically we tried to exploit the natural resources of that area. Even in Iran, the Shah, I mean, the United States installed the Shah into power. That was us.
Yeah, and the funny part about it too is like this story is a huge we're gonna go to No Way Home in a bit, but this story has a huge influence on for its time, because it came out in the 60s, so it had a huge influence on the space opera genre. It had George Lucas basically saying that was one of his favorite stories, and it helped him with his world building and crafting Star Wars. And there's other people as well who gave him credit to Dune, but the fact that it was able to.
I don't know if it's just me on my end, or if like.
Can you guys hear me? Or is
it... Yeah, I can hear you.
It might just be you, Seb.
Can you hear me?
I think Seb is having some issues.
Seb, I think you're having some issues.
Yeah, we can't hear you right now. You're talking.
Hey, Jamar.
He's doing that. What's up?
No, I did. So I just want to make sure. I don't know if it's just on my end, or if it's in the stream. Like, you sounded like you were cutting out there, but did that happen to anybody else, or was that just
no?
Me?
I sound like you cut off, Seb, for a sec.
Yeah, I think you're cutting off on your end.
Yeah, but then you're back now. You're back.
You're good now. You're good now. So just to finish what I was going to say, it has a lot of influence on the space opera genre. Even back then, there was like exploitations of oil or other people's resources, even in the 60s. So it was pretty awesome that he was able to predict stuff like that from this movie. But without going any more, I will definitely say for people who did not enjoy Dune Part 1 because they felt it was set up, which is fine. That's how people felt with the first Lord of the Rings. It's fine. I will say a lot of people, I'm telling you right now, a lot of people are going to love Part 2 just because I know what happens in it, because I read the first book. You're gonna enjoy part 2 a lot. It's faster paced and has a lot of You say it Star Killer, where it's like resolved. How do you say it? Like it's a lot of you get payoff is what I'm trying to say. For
Uh,
your wait.
I'm not
So
sure what you're trying to get at, but I think
when
I
you feel
understand what you're trying to say.
yeah, for because most people complained about they felt like they didn't have a lot of payoff or he didn't overcome some things, which is not really true, but like anything like in a traditional sense. So you're gonna get a lot of payoff. And the ending or the second part will not be as predictable as you think it will be. I'll just put it that way. And I won't go into it. But
Yeah, because I mean that would yeah, because I like for me and like Star Killer and Beasto, that would be spoiler territory for us. Like what comes in
I'm about
part
to say.
2.
Yeah, I will not say
Oh.
anything more. But let's get off the Dune. Let's talk about a little bit of Spider-Man, and then we'll get to our worst movies. All right, spoilers for Spider-Man: No Way Home, and that's it for spoilers. What did you guys want to say about it?
So first and foremost, like the biggest part of that film was the death of Aunt May, and I mean, like I actually like teared up
I didn't
at
expect that
that
either.
part. It was like it really hit me, and and even her delivery of the line, like with great power there must also come great responsibility, which is actually accurate to the comics, because a lot of people say with great power comes great responsibility, but that's like the original line was with great power there must also come with it great responsibility. Hopefully I didn't get that wrong, but it's more to that effect, and she says it like verbatim, and it like it hit like it hit really hard, like it hit harder than like all the different Uncle Ben deaths I've seen, like in the comics, in the Amazing Spider-Man, in the Raimi films. Like it was it you know I didn't like it. I didn't expect her to die, like, and for her to like basically tell Peter the message, like, you have to keep doing good even if you're not rewarded for it, even if the world effectively spits in your face and you lose everything, you still have to, like, keep doing good. And which is, like, to me, that is the biggest draw to Spider-Man. What is that he has like this awesome power. I saw on Instagram recently somebody shared these comic book panels from a Spider-Man comic, and Peter's like, yeah, like I juggle cars, and that's terrifying, not just for other people but for me too. And like, yeah, like he, I don't know, like that theme just resonates like really powerfully with me, like it's
Yeah,
this idea that, yeah, if you have the power to do something, then you are, and you do carry with that a responsibility, and even if it's to your own detriment, you still must persist and continue to do the right thing.
yeah.
And
No, go ahead.
yeah, anyway, no, I was
It's
gonna
the
say, and
biggest
I mean,
character development piece to Spider-Man.
Yeah, correct. I was just gonna say
yeah,
that. It was like another thing that's cool that No Way Home did was like normally like if a movie's dark, it just usually is just dark. If a movie is like light, it's just lighthearted. This movie was able to do a good balance of that. Similar, it just does a really good balance of that, and I really enjoy that about No Way Home, that it was able to shift. Because like everything in life is not always dark. Everything in life is not always light. So lighthearted. So it was able to shift and do that and balance it out, and that's kind of rare for Marvel movies. But they've been getting it right recently in terms of that balance. So all the credit to No Way Home. Like it's better than I thought it would be. Like much better. Like it was a great superhero movie.
It's an
yeah,
amazing film for
Yeah, it
sure.
is.
I feel like it's their best film to date, but that's just me being biased.
It's in my top 5 Marvel movies. I just haven't like looked or picked at it to decide, but I know for sure it's in my top 5 MCU films.
yeah, for sure. Like for me, it's up there with like Endgame and Infinity War. Like
Yeah,
it
correct.
was really good. I mean, even like in like Peter, like at the end, he lost everything. Like he had to
Yeah,
drop out of high school because when he went into his apartment, he put the box down,
GED.
and he's studying for his GED. Like he lost he has no financial support. He has to basically take care of himself. He doesn't have anybody. Like, he's literally alone. And he has the option of like going back to Ned and MJ and trying to get them to remember who he is. And I'm sure he could do it. But when he sees like, like, and that was the coolest thing too. He backed down when he saw the injury on MJ, like when she's she's still recovering from like what happened and how they got into MIT and just how his connection to them has really hurt their lives. He actually makes a selfless choice and is like, no, I'm not going to mess that up for them. And he backs off. And it's like, I mean, that's like, yeah, like this is Spider-Man. Like stuff like that. That's who Spider-Man is.
He's one of the most selfless, or is the most selfless character in the Marvel universe, I feel like.
Yeah. No more Iron Man Jr. jokes. Is what I meant to say. You can't really say that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like in a sense this was a him graduating from that, like being underneath Stark Shadow. I feel like that was this movie did it for him. He kind of graduated from being Stark Jr.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of that help at all, which I really like.
The only thing I did have to say was, which I think what you call it, another friend of ours pointed out really well. He said he felt like Far From Home had a bit of a better character development, and I felt that because I felt like they really got, like, I felt like Mysterio really dig deep into Spider-Man's character a lot more than what happened here in No Way Home. Like, it was really, really digging into Parker's character. But I feel like this No Way Home was just kind of like a full circle, like closing off to Spider-Man's character, like the last piece of the puzzle for him to develop his character.
Yeah, it was like a mix. I agree with that. Because Far From Home. Because with Far From Home, he was dealing with the loss of Iron Man because Tony was kind of a father figure to him. So when he lost that, he was almost trying to find it in Mysterio. So he was like in that phase where it's just like he still was trying to find his way and needed someone to look up to, because you could tell he felt like the loss from Iron Man when he was gone. So Far From Home was really good in that aspect. So I agree. And then No Way Home was more his development as a hero in being Spider-Man, by like independently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I was just gonna comment really quick that, and basically now Peter is kind of like, he's now at the end of No Way Home. He is the way Peter is in the comics. Like he's like he's like, these three movies have basically been his origin story, and now he's finally like, he is like we're gonna be following like a Peter that is similar to the comics now. Like we're at ground zero, and that was really cool.
Yep, that's exactly what it feels like. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I do want to say, I want to give credit to he's always been a great. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's like something in the background, but
there's like a car alarm I hear.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
The car alarm. Yeah, I can hear it.
That sucks. So let me say it real quick so I can mute myself. All right, there we go. I was gonna say he's always been a great actor, but the guy who plays Green Goblin, as soon as he touches the screen, like he's like the best MCU villain. Like just in terms of what he did,
is.
Like,
Willem Dafoe.
His acting, Willem Dafoe, man.
He's just pure selfish evil. Like there's nothing with him else. Like he's a very simple, straight cut, like to the core. I want power. I want it all.
Yeah.
I like also how they put that meme in there. I'm something of a scientist myself. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Like I loved it all, man. I loved the whole interaction between him, Toby, and Andrew. The whole back breaking thing or whatever. Like, I have like.
Oh yeah. Because I think like Tobey Maguire actually had like back problems in real life.
Yeah. That whole thing was funny. I like the interaction. I like how they kind of helped solidify Andrew Garfield's character when he saved this version of MJ, and then he starts crying. Great acting on his part too, by the way.
It's just redemption arcs for the other Spider-Mans, to be
It
honest.
really was. It really was, because like their flaws that happened, or whatever bad happened in their universe, they were able to kind of fix or resolve, like you said, redeem themselves through helping this Spider-Man. And it was done in a way where it wasn't just all happy in the end and rainbows, but like it was darkness, but it was just like, but there's still like some form of hope involved.
Yeah.
Just good stuff all around, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna move on, unless someone has one more thing to say. I will be moving on to the top 5 worst.
Okay, so I do have one final thing I want to throw out about No Way Home before we move on.
Sure.
Is like, so they look like also they set up some stuff in this movie, like going, so Ned has magic, and I don't know, like, because like I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Like, I mean, I'm actually kind of curious, honestly. And there was Eddie Brock, because he was brought over to the MCU universe, and he left a little bit of the symbiote there. So, which they didn't have Venom in I mean, not Venom as in like, what's his face from that '70s show, the guy who played Venom in the Raimi movies, like he wasn't there.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember the actor's name, but I definitely know the character you're talking about.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, I think it's Topher Grace. I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was Eric Foreman in that '70s show.
Yes.
And
he
wasn't in the MCU. I was kind of surprised about. But no, they had the other, because I haven't seen the new Venom movies. I have to watch those.
Yeah.
And he basically, Eddie Brock was just like chilling at a bar drinking, and then he just kind of unceremoniously gets zapped back to his universe.
Yeah, that was weird. That was unnecessarily weird.
Yeah.
It just felt like an excuse to bring in the black symbiote thing, or which I don't think they didn't have to go in that direction to do it like that. I just felt like it was a waste.
Yeah, because in the comics, the symbiote comes from space.
You didn't have to like. Yeah, it was kind of lazy, but like that was like the small, and that was just an after credits scene. But it was funny. It was just like weird.
Although I do think in the comics, and I could be mistaken, Peter gets the symbiote in the comics after Infinity War, after like, but
you're correct. I believe that's true.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but
it was it was either the Infinity War or the Secret Invasion, one or the other. But you're close to it. And there was one more thing I want to say, and then move on to the worst. I forgot to add this. Yeah. Another thing interesting, and this is going back to the Dune topic, that I forgot to bring up, and I never did, was basically how it does say that like you can gather that, like, how usually in these movies technology progresses people, or they usually try to imply that, like Star Trek, like technology and improve the human race for the better. Here it's like the exact opposite in Dune, as in everything seems archaic still, in a sense. Like there's this technology, but they still like screw up the planets. They still like have wars. There's still like some form of xenophobia or whatever. So still old problems like politics and religion and all that. Still old problems, just in a new package or a new era. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. And one example of the archaicness is like, like the bullet, you have lasers and bullets, yes, and it shows you they have the guns, but it's irrelevant in the face of the shields and the swords. It's just irrelevant because you know what I'm saying. So it was a cool way to do that. I think that was really cool.
It kind of like also like as a commentary, like it kind of opens up the idea of like it's those problems like racism, oppression, colonization, are just something that would always occur, like among sentient species, like no matter what. Like even if you're out in space, like in the far future with highly advanced tech, like it's still a problem that will come up.
Yeah, that was basically the commentary that I gathered, and I think there's words from the author that would confirm that. It's pretty cool stuff. But just to get this rolling, let's go to both great movies. Let's go to. By the way, you guys really do need to see Pig. Such a good movie. Nick,
Yeah,
Nick-
yeah,
I did have something to add though.
Sure.
Before you get to the top 5 worst, I did have 3 honorable mentions.
Go for it.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna touch on them real quick. So these are not in any specific order, but these movies I really, really liked for this year. The Tomorrow War. A lot of people felt like it might be a generic movie. I don't know. For me, it was a guilty pleasure, but I really liked the movie and some of the emotional like tones that it touched on. I would suggest it to anybody to give it a watch. The Harder They Fall. I also really love that movie. It's a fun Netflix movie, black western, which is not something that you see. It's not very common, but like I love the actors. The cast was amazing, and I love the way that the story was told. So it's a very traditional western story, but with a black cast. So it's a nice little twist. And finally was The Guilty. Um, I really enjoyed that film. Jake Gyllenhaal shows his ability to just play any role, even when it's not like it's just exposition. It's just talking. Like there's no real action. There's no nothing going on. It's just all talking. I thought it was a great film. Everybody should give it a look.
What was the name
The
of that
Tomorrow
film you
War?
just named?
The Guilty.
The Guilty. Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
The
saw
Guilty.
that.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, that was my top 3 for my honorable mentions.
All right, for sure. Yeah, like I said, definitely everyone check out honorable mentions. Check out The Pig. I really recommend. Check out Luch Pizza. I recommend it.
Yeah, are we gonna go see that this week or something like that?
I'll
Is
be
it still
down,
in
yeah.
theaters?
Shh, this is probably the last week you'll be in theaters, but if it is, then yeah, I'm down.
What are you doing later tonight then?
Oh, I'm sick, bro.
Alright.
I don't want to come.
Oh,
out.
right.
Yeah, it's gonna take me another day or two to not.
You
pass
have your
the
mask
around.
on right now?
Might as well.
Hey, I don't see our cue cards aren't 6 feet apart, bro. I don't know how I feel about it.
Let's do this. Worst movies of the year. I'll go real quick, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Willy's Wonderland is my number 5. That's the least. I'm going like bottom to top of worst movies. Willy's Wonderland by Nick Cage. Nick Cage was in my my best movie of the year. He's also in one of my worst movies of the year. Funny premise, execution horrible. It's only at 5 just because it's kind of fun. Number 4, Godzilla. Why did I see this movie? I saw it in the trailer. Bad. Number 3, Mortal Kombat. If you saw the teaser for it, that's all you needed to see for Mortal Kombat. That was trash. Throw it in the trash. Number 2, Fast 9. I know. Some people. Why did I put Fast 9 over Mortal Kombat? Actually, I switched that around. Number
So
3
wait, can I
Fast
throw
9.
in a quick comment? Like,
Go
so
ahead.
Fast 9, did they really went to space, huh?
Yes, it did. I don't even care for that. If it's a spoiler, no, they did. How Seb just reacted is exactly how I felt. That was my number 3. Number 2 would have been Mortal Kombat. Now, number 1, worst movie of the year is everyone should have guessed this, Matrix. The first 30 minutes, I was like, okay, if they're not taking this seriously, I won't either. I'll be fine with it, whatever. I don't know why they made it, but whatever. But then they try to go back to sort of serious, sort of like actually connecting to the lore. And I was like, yeah, this is bad. And then it just keeps getting worse, and it keeps getting worse, and then worse, where I really wanted to stop watching it. Like I was watching it on my phone, and I just felt disrespected. I was like, yo, I wasted 2 hours of my life with this trash movie. Like, bad movie. Let's start from the bottom up. Beasto, go ahead. We'll start with you.
I'm gonna have. So like I said, I only saw 5 films. So
You could have 2 or 1 worse. You know, it doesn't matter.
I mean, the top 2, the 2 worst for me are obviously Eternals and Matrix. With Matrix being way worse than Eternals, because at least Eternals was passable. It just wasn't great. Like me and Narch came out of Eternals feeling like, okay, I mean, it's been done before. Like there was nothing special about it, but there was fun moments. Like there was fun moments in there. At least with Eternals, I laughed. Like there was some level of engagement where I'm like, okay, I'm not, I don't feel like a plastic human watching this movie right now. That's how I felt with The Matrix. I'm like, oh, I felt nothing, like nothing.
I don't know how you pronounce his name, but Kumail Nanjiani. He was Kingo in the Eternals. He
Dude,
was
he was
what
the best
made the
character, bro.
his character and his whole
Was the
like
best.
Indian take on everything was the most
That shit was
fucking
hilarious,
hilarious
bro.
thing. Yeah.
That was if he was not if him and the director guy were not in that movie, bro, it would have legitimately sucked. Like honestly, like I feel like it would have been a boring movie because honestly, the main protagonist was not that interesting. like,
There was
it
a
was
main
just like
protagonist.
exactly,
Nah,
exactly.
but
It just,
yeah,
but yeah, most of the characters were kind
It
of
was
like,
very
eh,
bland. It was all the
yeah,
character. I feel like just like a lot of the acting and stuff was just very bland. The it felt like the script. It was the script. The script was just very bland, and the
there was nothing
acting just
unique
felt
about it.
bland. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's your two movies that you found terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like
Let
this
me
is
get
going to
into
be
the
very
Matrix a
similar.
little bit. Yeah,
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 go
because the
ahead. Get
Matrix,
into
it
it.
was
We're gonna cook
I
on it
liked the
afterwards too.
concept. Yeah, that's fine. I liked what the Matrix was doing. Like conceptually, I'm like, okay, I'm interested in some of this. I hope they take it somewhere, and they just kind of didn't. I think that's what. Like they just like, oh, there's this new freaking Matrix that we got here. There's this new world. Like, hey, they're gonna build this up. No,
Nope,
they
not
don't.
interesting.
And then there's nothing. I'm just like, that's what it was. Like anything that was interesting just went nowhere,
Yeah, it didn't.
and it just felt dry and forced and just. I don't know, man. I felt worse coming. Like I watched Matrix in the comfort of my own room, and I'm kind of glad I did it that way because I'm just like, man, this was like because the thing is, I feel I would have felt better if I came out hating it. That's kind of like a weird thing. Like if I come out of the film like, oh man, this film's a piece of shit. I was angry, but I felt nothing. I felt
Yeah, there's
indifferent. I just felt like had I watched The Wall for 2 hours, I would have been just as productive.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh wow. If I had watched paint dry, I would have felt better about it because that's better plot progression than what I got.
Yeah, it's a
I
disrespect to
just
art.
can't believe
It's
it.
just pretty
It really
disrespectful.
is, man.
It's just lazy.
It felt like they had, you know, I don't know. I didn't watch any director interviews or anything, but they felt like they made this movie because they had to go to work from 9 to 5. That's how this felt.
I'm
You know
gonna
what I
talk
mean?
about it
Like,
afterwards. You're not off, actually. I'll talk about it afterwards. You're not
I'm
off.
really not.
No, you're actually correct. Seb, this is Seb. Let's go to you real quick.
So I don't even remember. Like, so I did see a movie on Amazon Prime with my mom
Yeah.
months ago, but I actually don't even know if the movie was made like this year or if it was made last year. I think it actually won an award, but I really did not like it. I don't even remember the name of the movie. This is like terrible. Uh, basically, it was like it kind of covered the lives of like people that live in like trailers and they like work in Amazon warehouses, something like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, just look it up real quick, and then when you're ready, I'll come back to you. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Star Killer, go.
Top 5 worst films for this year.
Starting from the bottom. Let's go.
Starting from the bottom. Reminiscence. I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly. But it's with Hugh Jackman, Nandy Newton. I forgot
that
her
movie.
name.
Yeah.
I remember the trailer for that. I never
So
saw it. Yeah.
it's the same lady that did Westworld. So I had some high expectations because Westworld is just such a good thing. But the problem with the movie was the pacing and the execution, and I feel like it's because I feel like she's just so used to writing TV like stuff for TV shows. So that like when TV shows don't quite translate to movies because there's just too much that you have to try to do in a shorter time. You don't have time to really explore things. So I felt like Reminiscence, like it was just kind of convoluted and you didn't really get a chance to explore anything. It just wasn't done or executed quite properly well. The concept was really good. But I felt like the execution it was a huge miss for me, and I felt like it was a huge wasted potential because I really wanted to enjoy the film.
Yeah.
Number 4 was Venom 2. I don't even really feel like talking about that trash. But I don't know. The Venom series for me has just been a huge miss. It's too comical. It doesn't feel it's too it's more comical than the comics. That's my
Yeah.
problem I have with it. It's just I feel like Venom should be, if they're trying to do it, it should either be somewhat accurate to the comics or at least grounded in reality, but it doesn't feel like any of that. It just feels too comical for me. I didn't like the first film as much, and the second film I just didn't like it even more. It just fell apart
Yeah.
for me. The whole
Yeah.
It should
Carnage
have a
thing.
darker tone. This is Venom we're
Um
talking about.
yeah,
That's what
it should have been rated R, not PG-13. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what Sony is doing. They're always like missing whatever they're trying to do. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. Similar to what you call it? I did not like Godzilla versus Kong. That
Boring as hell.
as was mentioned earlier, the trailer, basically you could tell the entire movie from the trailer, and the fact that they just kind of went with a formula that they've been using now for years. It's just like, come on, bro. Like you did not have to go down that route. Like everybody knows what's why? Like have something fun. Like actually put consequences in a film. Like why just make things that like have no consequence and just it's just boring. It just makes for boring storytelling, lazy storytelling. Like it just sucks. Moving on, Matrix 4, straight garbage. I don't understand why they introduce so many concepts in both the third and the fourth film. This new film introduced some new concepts, and they just didn't take advantage of any of it at all. They just left everything on the table. The feeling was just very off. I said it already, like in some talks before, but in the original trilogy, if you ever pay attention, there's a green tint to the film when they're inside of the Matrix.
Yeah.
And it's a clear like distinction from when they're in real life in the Matrix, you know? Like it makes you feel like you're in a real like it makes the world a little bit more believable. It's like, okay, we're in a virtual world, and then when we're outside, we're in the real world. This new film didn't have any of the things from the original film, so it just didn't feel like I was watching a Matrix film whatsoever. It just felt like everything like from the original film just kind of like whatever. Feels like they didn't want to make this film. Like they were just lazy and just didn't really care to make this film. I thought it's a waste. It's a wasted opportunity for them to come up and do something. If you're gonna make a love story, since the original trilogy you can kind of just concluded everything that needed to be concluded, then make a good love story. Don't just make it half-assed and just leave everything on the table for no reason.
No stakes at all.
It just feels like this movie shouldn't have come out in the first place. They should have just let it die at this point.
Yeah.
And number 1, and before I get on to number 1, I really, really love Matrix. Like that's a film that I grew up with, so it's just really sad and disappointing to see one of my favorite franchises just pretty much burn down and just go nowhere. Anyway, going on to number 1, I feel similarly about Matrix. Mortal Kombat is a series that I personally feel like I grew up with, and only the first 7 minutes of the film were good, and the rest of the film just felt like it felt like all the budget went to the first 7 minutes of the film, which is the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight and their whole story and their whole lore. Like
Awful.
that was the only good part of the film. The rest of the film just fell apart for me. They changed the entire lore and the entire system of how Mortal Kombat works to the point that it didn't make any sense to me. It was just illogical. Mortal Kombat is supposed to be brutal, and there was just no brutality in the rest of, like, aside from the first 7 minutes, there's no brutality. People were getting thrown into walls, and they just got back up. Like nobody was really getting hurt. Like it's just like where's the where's the bones breaking? Where's people's limbs getting ripped apart? Like where's the brutality? Like it just did not feel like Mortal Kombat. It just feels like they just wanted to toss up all these video game characters into one thing and just watch them do something, and it felt like a cash grab. Like people were just like, "Hey, well, we have this new Mortal Kombat film, all your favorite characters. Go watch it. It's good." Like it was trash. I hate it. I hate it. I Mortal Kombat is my favorite fighting franchise, like video game franchise. So it's also really sad to see one of my favorite like franchises just get completely ruined, and it feels like nobody really took the time to look into the lore. A lot of people are just ignorant to these things because they just think, oh, it's a fighting game, it doesn't really have any story, it's just a fighting game. No, if you actually play the game, if you play through the story, like there's an actual story to the game. And Mortal Kombat story is actually really good. It spans like ever since they did the reboot back in 2009, I think. It has a story that goes from that all the way up until now, until the latest Mortal Kombat, and it's an ongoing story, and it's pretty good. So for them to just kind of ignore that entire lore, I don't see why. Like Mortal Kombat actually has a pretty good story, and it's very easy to put on screen. So it's just disappointing.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna go into
that's
group
it.
discussion. Seb, you're back.
Yeah. I couldn't. So I could not find the movie.
fine.
But yeah, it was this movie that was on Amazon Prime, and it was not good. But I don't even remember the name of the movie. I tried to find it, I couldn't find it. It was.
I get you.
No, honestly, like I said, yeah, this particular year,
Are you talking about Nomad's Land?
Yes.
Wait, you're talking?
So I remember seeing the trailer for that movie. I thought that was the movie you were talking about, Nomad's Land.
I think. Let me look it up. I think you're right.
Nomad's Land. What is that like?
No, yeah. Yeah. Okay, yes. Thank you, Narch.
Nomads?
Nomad's Land. Wait. This should be okay. Yeah, 2020 film. Yeah. Nomadland. Yeah. Starkiller was right.
It has a lady as the main character, like an older lady.
Yeah, she's in her 60s. She like basically goes, like she's living in a trailer, and like she's going around the basically like through the American West, and I mean,
was it just boring?
It was really boring. And I mean, and to be fair, like in the interest of fairness, I think there were some aspects of the movie that were well shot. You know, I mean, obviously, like I'm not a film buff, so I'm not really well versed in like cinematography, and but I did think that there were some things in that movie that actually were well shot, but the movie was just really boring, and like it's like all right, it has the same problem for me as like Manchester by the Sea. Like there's no point to it, and it was just, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a commentary on like the bleak American landscape, and how these mega corporations like Amazon and like Walmart have like taken over, and there's really nothing of any there's no culture there. I mean, you have a culture fostering among the people who are like living in the trailers, and they have their own communities, right? And the movie does like spend time going over that, but but like but like I don't know, maybe it's just a personal taste thing, but it's just not one of those. It's just, I don't know. I don't like. I mean, it's not that I have a preference for like let's say escapist fiction, right? Like, it's not that I have a distaste for like movies that deal with like real subject matters, right? Because I was going to mention this and I had forgotten. I just remembered I saw a movie that came out on Netflix it was a documentary called Attica,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
which is it's about the prison.
Hmm.
And I actually really liked it. I actually thought that movie was really good.
Mm.
And I thought as a documentary film, I thought it was very, very well made. And I like movies that get into like serious subject matter like that. That's the real life stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
But
interesting though. Hmm.
but I don't know, but when I look at like Manchester by the Sea, or or this movie Nomadland, it's just there's something about it that like it rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how to like put it.
No, that's fine. It's
And there are positive qualities to the film. Like I want to be
yeah,
fair here. I'm not just gonna like shit on it without like without rhyme or reason. Like I am like trying to put things in perspective here, but like
yeah. It's just not your thing. It's like Oscar baity type of drama films. I know what you mean.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel. Like
Like it's meant to win an Oscar, but like it feels like it's just overly pretentious. Because I've heard critiques of certain movies like that.
that's yeah, exactly. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
how I feel. Like I said, like same thing with Manchester by the Sea. I mean, Manchester by the Sea, like because like okay, of course, in real life, yeah, a lot of things are pointless, and like there's no like real,
Deep
it's
meaning behind it. Yeah.
right. Like you're not going through life like it doesn't play out like the plot of a movie, obviously.
No. No.
You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
but okay, that's all well and good, but a movie is a specific artistic medium, and it is supposed to be telling a story. And if you're just telling me that life is pointless and meaningless, like I don't need to fucking pay to go see that. Like I already know that. Like I'm going to a movie to see something that I generally would not be able to see otherwise. And it doesn't have to be escapist fiction. And that was the point I was trying to draw with like the other movie I saw that I liked, Attica, where it was teaching me something that was like I did not know this, and I learned a lot from it. But this movie Nomadland, I didn't get anything out of it. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And like you said,
Yeah.
Jamar, like yeah, it is kind of like it felt kind of pretentious at times almost.
Yeah, it's I get it. Like I get it because there's a lot of people, even people who do love film, who feel the same way you do. Like I'm not love, you like
Yeah.
films. I mean, but like film fanatics, whatever you want to call them, who have the same kind of feelings.
Yeah. But
They're
it's
just
just like
all
a
in
decent
taste.
film.
Yeah, it's all
But
in
like
taste.
one thing I told me and Seb had a conversation a while back, and we were talking about like it relates to films like this because like philosophy is important, but me and him we had a discussion one time where we're like, bro, but philosophy can get so absurd to the point of impracticality. So
Yeah.
and then people like get disconnected to the point of like you do realize no one lives this way. It's like no one. It's like we still have
Right.
human functions to attain to. Like
Yeah.
eating, paying the bills, and they just like get to philosophy to the point of like we could just abandon that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like I can't. I'm sorry. Like your philosophy is nice in this fictional universe that you've invented in your head, but we're human and we can't
Yeah.
do that. It's like, so I think that's where I draw the line with philosophical stuff sometimes. Like if it's applicable philosophy or a philosophy of why you're doing something, that's completely different because you need that. But when you just get into this absurd territory of pointlessness and just certain observations where it's just like, okay, that's nice it sounds nice and all sophisticated on paper, but then when you like really look at it, you're like, oh, this is kind of pointless. This is a rabbit hole that's for me pointless to go down. It's like it's not gonna matter.
Right.
And I think that's where like me and Seth have that disagreement with where me and Seth have that problem with philosophy where it just gets to the realm of absurdity. It's like, bro, we're human. We can like
Because
Go ahead.
sorry, no, what were you gonna say, dude? Sorry.
Real quick, can I point something out too? There is actually an issue with the whole Amazon warehouse thing, and I know where they drew this influence from because there's stories of like this. But the funny part is, and this does make us point, and it's not the point that you guys are trying to make. This is shatting on Amazon. but it's on Amazon Prime. But it's what I told people. It doesn't matter what ideology the movie is, and it doesn't represent the ideology of whatever company releases it, because it's just about making money
Yeah,
at the end of the
exactly.
day. Think about it. If it was really about ideology, if Amazon would probably hate this movie because it's like it's shatting on Amazon. Why would I have it on
Right,
my
exactly.
list, top 5 list?
Yeah.
But they know that this is going to be Oscar, and this is supposedly in the Oscar run up, and it's going to make them money because it's an Oscar run up. So it tells you everything you need to know. The ideology of a movie does not represent the ideology of a company. It's totally separate.
Right. No, exactly. And I want to quickly, but because I want to address something that Bisto said earlier, was like, well, yeah, with philosophy, like, and like I said, I mean, I do personally think philosophy is really important. So this is not me just being dismissive of it, but where I think philosophy can have a disconnect is, just for example, like they'll say like, you know, like for example, a physicist is if you're an empiricist, like, you know, you hold the evidence of actual lived experience to be on a standard of objective truth, then you can't be a realist. So, you know, because basically the idea is that you can't prove that what you're experiencing is really happening. Like, absolutely, you are kind of taking it on an act of faith that what you're experiencing does objectively exist, or that your experiences reflect unobjective existence of some kind. And, you know, yeah, I mean, of course, it's a logically sound argument. I mean, I can't argue with it on a logical basis, but in real terms, who the fuck is going to go through their life thinking, you know, like questioning if what they're experiencing is really happening or not? Nobody does that. I mean, come on. And that way, like, you can kind of go down the rabbit hole of absurdity, you know, because also conversely, you can also make the argument, yeah, you don't know if what you're experiencing is objective does objectively exist or not, but you also don't know if it doesn't objectively exist or not either. So it's equally possible that it does reflect an objective existence, and it would then be foolhardy to disregard it. So,
Yeah.
you know, but anyway, just to address what Bisto was saying, I just wanted to like throw my 2 cents on
Yeah,
that.
you're good. That's
But
a good way of. Mhm.
No, but to going back to what you were saying, like with the Amazon warehouses, because yeah, I mean there are genuine like abuses there, like
Yeah.
there absolutely are. I mean,
The tornado incident that happened where they were banned from going on their phones and told to stay in the warehouse, and then they
yeah,
all died. That was
that
pretty.
that's
That was crazy.
monstrous. Yeah,
That's very
that's
monstrous. That's crazy.
that's yeah, it's horrible. Or even before that, like during the summer months, I mean, they didn't even have fucking air conditioning in the building, and they were giving them these like crappy little fans, if that even. I mean, people were actually being
Strokes.
hauled out in stretchers. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and see, that's the thing. Like you know, if a movie, let's say, wants to cover that as a topic, right?
Mhm.
You know, I'm absolutely like, you know,
All
I'm
for
down for that, because you can get a lot of meaningful commentary about that. But my problem with Nomad Land is that, like, yeah, it did comment on it, but like it was like kind of surface level. Like it didn't really get into like the actual like mechanisms of it, or anything like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're following this lady around and she's living in a trailer, but you don't even really cover her working in this warehouses or working in
Could-
Walmart. You don't really get into it. Sorry, what were you saying? Sorry.
No. Like, you're correct. I wonder if like they don't want to go too ham because it was produced by Amazon. I wonder, but I don't know.
Could be that.
I know it could be. I mean, I don't know. Like, that's
It could be.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. But again, even just having, because they're obviously, if she's in a trailer and she's like struggling, that's still a what do you call it, a shot at Amazon. So either way, I mean, good for the director. Amazon, I just don't think he cares that much.
But
yeah.
no, dude, I think you're right. Like, you know, at the end of the day, Amazon doesn't give a fuck, because look, they're gonna make money off the movie.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's it. That's the
getting
bottom
actual
line.
Oscar buzz. Like when you said the name, I was like, oh, you hated that movie. That's funny. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, so it's gonna be a lot of attention. People are gonna come to they're gonna like review Amazon Prime movies as more prestigious if it wins. So yeah, it's a win-win even either way.
Yeah, I looked it up, by the way. So yeah, the movie came out in 2021 because I watched it like months ago, way earlier this year,
Yeah.
and I sort of like vaguely remembered it, but I remember not liking it. So I was trying to remember it. The Star Killers, like, thank you because you like reminded me.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
For sure.
Yeah, and and I want to check out Nomadland. I forgot to watch that movie. I know it's on my list. I just never checked it out. But I will tell you if I feel the same way or not. But we got to move on quickly because we got to end this
yeah,
thing
yeah,
soon.
yeah.
Because I need to get some sleep. I'm starting to cough up a storm right now. Let's do the what do we want to talk about? All right. So the worst movie I think that is common to all of us in our list is Seth, do you care about spoilers for this movie or
No. Go for it, dude. You're good.
It's a terrible movie here. Let me show it. Just people know. We're doing spoilers one more time for Matrix Resurrections, and then we're going to end this thing in like 5 minutes. All right. So it's funny that you brought that up, Beasto. Or was it Starkiller? I think it was Beasto. That they felt like they didn't really want to do the film. There's some interesting hints, and I don't want to say this is official, but I've seen some stories come out, and I wish I could pull it up. I'll look for it when you guys talk. The first thing was the comments by what's his name? The guy who plays Neo. Why am I forgetting his name all the time?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting old. But with Keanu Reeves, right? Specifically, he during interview said this was the strangest movie he's been on because they all did one take. They did not rehearse.
What?
You know that's
Wait, you're kidding.
That's what he said literally in the interview. It was just weird.
One take?
Yeah, no rehearse. They did the line, that was it.
That's unbelievable.
That's awful. That's lazy. That's the laziest thing you can do. That's a movie sin. And another
That's
thing that
wow.
Another thing that was said, and this was during the actual movie, like if you watch it, the first few minutes, I think they cut to a statue with a middle finger, and right next to it is a WB figure. So there was stuff like that. There was a line directly in the movie. You forgot about that, right? There's a line directly in the movie where this version of who plays Agent Smith, he tells Neo, they don't know who they are, obviously, at this point. He's just like a CEO for the gaming company, right? He's talking to Neo, their game developer. He said, "Yeah, I know. This is annoying that we have to do another Matrix." Talking about like another Matrix game. But the executives at Warner Brothers, they want us to make this movie because if we don't do it, we lose the license. So we got to do it. They explicitly tell you that, bro. We don't want to do it, but if we don't do it, we'll lose the license, and someone else is going to do it.
It felt like a parody in so many places, bro.
It is.
Parody. Yeah.
It is. So I do believe, and the story's out that is actually true. That basically, if the sisters didn't do it, they would lose the license and it would have gone to someone else. Like WB would have had free reign to do whatever they wanted with it.
Which would have been much better anyway, to be honest.
I don't like the director, so that's true.
Yeah.
I thought I would add that because you're pretty on point, Beast.
Can you imagine if like Dennis Villeneuve made a new Matrix reboot or something shit like that?
Oh boy. Oh Lord. Oh.
Christopher Nolan would be perfect for this too, actually. It would be crazy.
Dude, I can't believe they only did one take.
I don't want Nolan. No. I wouldn't want Nolan on it, bro. He would overcomplicate it. I'm sorry, but Nolan has been going way too crazy with his movies recently, man. He overcomplicates stuff for no reason. I love his cinematography. I love his directing, but his exposition is always off, bro. Like,
he does info dump a lot. It worked in Inception.
Too much.
It worked in Interstellar was fine.
Even in Inception, though, it's a bit much. Like, there's a lot of like talking in Inception where it's like I feel like I said in no, like you said earlier with the Dune, where it's like they don't really say a lot of stuff. You just kind of figure stuff out as you go along. I felt like there's a lot of times in Inception where he could have just not have the actors explain stuff to each other that they would already know. Yeah. And you would already know, like you would figure it out, like, oh, okay, they're doing this. Like, I don't need to be told they're doing this by the character who already knows what they're doing. It just kind of adds unnecessary layers to stuff.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
It's different when the character finds out naturally, and then we find out with the character, because it's like the character didn't know either. So then it works. when the character's like, oh, so this is what's going on, because the character will be realizing, oh, this is what the fuck's going on. I had no idea this whole time. It's like, it's
Right.
like, it feels more natural.
I guess
There was,
yeah.
I was gonna say like a Nolan film like Memento. The dialogue actually there was they
Memento was
weren't it
great.
wasn't yeah. No, I love I love the nonlinear storytelling that he does in that film.
Yeah.
The Nolan films I've seen were Interstellar, I've seen Inception, I've seen Memento,
Dark Knight.
what else? Oh yeah, the Dark Knight films. I was trying to remember, and I actually wanted to see Dunkirk. I didn't get a chance to see that.
That was a good movie.
Dunkirk was actually the
That was
opposite of his
he
most
doesn't
recent
over-explain.
film. Dunkirk has very little dialogue. Very, very little dialogue.
Yeah. It's very realistic. The only problem I had with it was the lack of blood. But other than that, if you watch the movie, it is actually very good upon rewatch. It's very good.
Dunkirk is one of his stronger, more recent films, I would say.
Yes. I would say this. It was okay. So directors have a tendency of doing this when they find a certain style or something they're praised in one movie. They seem to like to keep continuously doing that because they think it's just like oh people will know. It's like a what do you call that? Like a trademark thing. I don't know. People tend to do that. So like Christopher Nolan does that thing. He got praise for Inception, like a lot of praise, other than Dark Knight. And I guess it worked for me because it was fun because it was mostly explaining to a newbie. And I guess we were living in her kind of point of view. So I was fine with it. Could have done less, you're right. But I was fine with it. But I think ever since then, he likes to overcomplicate and then write a bunch of exposition for no reason. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, bro, you did not have to do it all the time. But anyway, I think he'd be a good choice with Matrix, given that someone is there looking over the script in terms of the dialogue. I think he'd be a perfect choice, actually. But that's never going to happen. But
no.
Anybody want to? Yeah, no. They're not trying to do another one at all.
Especially because the funny thing is this from what you guys are saying, I haven't seen it myself, but this latest Matrix movie is really like a pile of dog crap.
It's really
it did well. I mean, overall, I'm sure a lot of people went to go see it, right? Or
believe it or not, no.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly,
a lot of people just watched it on HBO.
Max. They had HBO Max or streaming services really kill views. On top of that, negative reaction.
Also, coming out next to Spiderman was
next to Spiderman, exactly.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Also, with the new generation like Gen Z, they don't have as much of an attachment to Matrix as our generation does. So it would make sense because younger people are the ones going to the movies now because of COVID.
Yeah, because I remember when I was growing up, I watched the original Matrix trilogy in theaters. I watched the Animatrix on Adult Swim. So I wanted to see this new Matrix film, but I honestly I was really from what you guys have said,
just bad, bro. They should have just made an anime out of it or something. I don't know, just horrible, just garbage. But I don't think there's anything else that anyone wanted to say. Anyone want to shit? Cursing. Anyone want to throw up on something else they don't like, or that was it?
No, that's pretty much it.
We've talked about this film kind of going at this point. Outside of YouTube, we've talked about this film going, so I'm good.
I shut out Matrix enough. I'm good.
I will say though, for another video, I would like to discuss about what movies are doing nowadays, how I felt about Dune. I feel like Dune can take movies into a different direction. The same thing with No Way Home. I feel like them doing this multiverse thing. Though I feel like that started off with a different film, but those types of topics where movies are doing something different in the movie world that it's causing other movies to kind of copy them or doing the same. I think that should be a discussion.
Oh yeah, it's definitely real quick. Yeah, on that, there's definitely, and I'm going to do a discussion video for sure. There's it's a copycat league, just like in sports. So Flash, for example, is doing the multiverse because they plan to reset everything. They have a different bunch of people on the top for WB. I think they sold the company to AT&T or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'll confirm it later. But because of that, they're resetting everything. They're getting rid of all the actors they had under the Snyderverse. It's a total reset.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna rebuild it like that, which is a smart idea. That happened in the comics. It's pretty smart. Anyway,
Yeah.
in terms of Dune, you're right. Now, Dune didn't make a crazy ton of money, but that's because of HBO Max and the times we live in. It's a film that appeals more to older people instead of younger. Like we've always said that younger people don't really like new properties until later. They're not really into new properties like that, unless it's superhero or whatnot.
I feel like Dune specifically is gonna push the sci-fi movies in it because I feel like it's one of the first sci-fi films in modern day and age that feels very grounded.
Yes, correct.
Compared to all other sci-fi movies, that it's like, oh, okay, this is sci-fi as hell. But
yeah, just goofy.
I don't know, Dune felt so grounded to the point where like I feel like if more sci-fis like start going in that direction, like we can have a more realistic take on things.
No, you're correct. After even though it didn't do that well, it did good enough like to get a sequel. Because of that, and they saw that if it didn't have HBO Max, there it would have done well, right? A lot of movie studios have actually greenlighted some other sci-fi, like old, like 80s. I'm talking about like that hasn't been adapted ever. So like 80s sci-fi graphic novels, like
yeah,
I can't remember the name. I'll talk about that later. So those projects are starting to get off the ground, and I think that was because of Dune, because it was never confirmed until after Dune came out with his box office numbers. So you're right about that. You're gonna see a list, and this is good because I have not seen any space opera films other than Star Wars in this generation, and those aren't very good for this generation. So this is gonna be good. We need sci-fi to come back because I'm done with the superhero stuff. To be honest, I want some other genres coming up.
I mean, like if it's superhero stuff, more like No Way Home. I mean, I'm down for that. But
I'm not gonna be.
But
exactly. But it's not gonna.
But I mean, like, I don't want it to be dominated by one genre.
No. That's not healthy. That's never a healthy thing. No, I've always been a huge sci-fi fan anyway, so I actually would like to see sci-fi films like really make a comeback.
Yeah, this is healthy. This is good, and I'm really glad that it's happening. I'm just waiting for a good fantasy thing as well, similar to Dune. That needs to come back as well, because these genres are like dead in the mainstream space right now. I would like to see it come back. But let's end this. Thank you guys for coming out. I know it's went over the time limit, but this was fun.
Yeah,
this was fun. All right, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, take care. See you later.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, guys, that was fun. You met a whole crew of people. I think that was the most people we had at one time. So that was cool. Now I'm gonna get going. I need to get some rest. But the last thing we will do. Oh, and apologies for all the the interference, the audio, and all that. I know it wasn't clean, but I'm getting used to this. Don't worry, I'll get that solved with more time and more practice. But all right, let's end this with some music. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Enjoy 2022. Take care. Bye.